was cold and wet, but in the small parlor of Laburnam Villa the blinds were drawn and the heater glowed brightly. Father and son were at chess, the former, who possessed ideas about the game involving radical changes, putting his king into such sharp and unnecessary perils that it even provoked comment from the white-haired old lady knitting placidly by the fire.
Hark at the wind.
I'm listening. Check.
I should hardly think that he'd come.
Mate.
That's the worst of living so far out. Of all the beastly, slushy out-of-the-way places to live in, this is the worst. Pathways a bog, and the road's a torrent. I don't know what people are thinking about. I suppose because only 2 houses on the road are let, they think it doesn't matter.
Never mind, dear. Perhaps you'll win the next one. There he is.
Sergeant Morris.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Sergeant Morris.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Sergeant Morris.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
At last his eyes got bigger and he began to talk. The little family circle regarding with eager interest this visitor from distant parts as he squared his broad shoulders in the chair and spoke of strange scenes and doughty deeds, of wars and plagues and strange people.
I like to go and do my saw, just to look around a bit, you know.
You're better where you are.
I would sure like to see those old temples, fakrins, and jugglers. What was it you started telling me the other day about a monkey's paw or something? Morris?
Leastways nothing worth hearing.
Monkey's paw?
Well, it's just a bit of what you would call magic. It's just a little ordinary dried up monkey's paw.
And what is there special about it?
It had a spell put on it by a very old holy man called the Fark. He wanted to show that fate could rule people's lives, and that those who interfered with it did so with their sorrow. He had a spell put on it that could accept 3 separate wishes from 3 men.
Well, why don't you have 3, sir?
I have.
And did you really have 3 wishes?
I did.
And has anybody else wished?
The first 2 men had his 3 wishes. I don't know where the first 2 were, but the third one was for death. That's how I got this paw.
If you had your 3 wishes, it's no good to you now, then, Morris, what do you keep it for?
Fancy, I suppose.
If you could have another 3 wishes, would you have them?
I don't know.
You put the third to me.
I won't! Get rid of it! Don't blame me for what happens. Destroy it like a sensible man.
How do you do it?
Hold it up in your right hand and wish aloud. But I warn you of the consequences.
Sounds like an Arabian Nights. Don't you think you might wish for 4 wishes? 4 pairs of hands for me?
If you only cleared the house, you would be quite happy, wouldn't you? Well, wish for 200 pounds, then I'll just do it.
I wish for 200 pounds. It moved. As I wished, it twisted in my hand like a snake.
Well, I don't see the money. And I bet I never shall.
It must have been your fancy, Father.
Never mind, though. There's no harm done. But it gave me a shock all the same.
I expected you to find the cash tied up in the big bag in the middle of your bed, and something horrible squatting on top of your wardrobe, watching you as you pocket your ill-gotten gains.
Was very happy at the expense of her husband's credulity, all of which did not prevent her from scurrying to the door at the postman's knock, nor prevent her from referring somewhat shortly to retired sergeant majors of bibulous habits when she found that the post brought a tailor's bill.
Annabelle will have some more of her funny remarks, I expect, when she comes home.
I dare say. But for all of that, the things moved my hand. That I'll swear to.
You thought it did.
I say it did. There was no thought about it. I had just, what's the matter?
Sorry for the noise. Oh. The firm most wish to convey their sincere sympathy with you in your great loss.
Just kind of machinery.
Yes.
He was the only one left to us. It is hard.
What happened next was horrifying. The stranger offered £200 for the loss of their son.
Come back, it'll be cold.
It is colder for my daughter.
He has been dead 10 days, and besides I would not tell you else, but I could only recognize him by his clothing. If he was too terrible for you to see then, why now?
Bring him back. Do you think I fear the child I have nursed?
I wish my daughter again.
A perfect fusillade of knocks reverberated through the house, and he heard the scraping of a chair as his wife put it down the passage against the door. He heard the creaking of the bolt as it came slowly, and at the same moment he found the monkey's paw and frantically breathed his third and last wish. The knocking ceased suddenly, although the echoes of it were still in the house. He heard the chair drawn back and the door opened. A cold wind rushed up the staircase, and a long, loud wail of disappointment and misery from his wife gave him the courage to run down to her side and then to the gate beyond. The street lamp flickering opposite shone on a quiet and deserted road.